to impart the right decisions that will be helpful for all citizens. All these things we ask in thy name. Amen.
If you please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on our agenda this evening are the minutes of our regular session of April 6th from 2021. Is there a motion?
I move the minutes of April 6, 2021 be accepted.
And I will second that. Is there any further discussion? And all those in favor? Motion carries. Nancy, is there an appearance of citizens?
No, sir.
Okay. The next item on our agenda this evening is some old business, and this is the second reading of the alcohol application of Felicia and George Peavy. The location is 14661 Georgia Highway 18, Pine Mountain, Georgia, formerly known as Crickets. The license applied for is beer and wine on premises, along with distilled spirits by the drink on premises. It does meet qualifications. The recommendation from our Sheriff's Office, Health Department, and Community Development was all approval. I don't think Ms. Peavy is here this evening.
You should just come here.
Is there anything that you'd like to mention or tell us this evening?
I don't think so.
Okay. Are there any questions for Ms. Peavy? No questions? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor or opposition towards Ms. Peavy? No one. All right. Well, at this moment, we will take a vote. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the application for alcohol on Tidbits. Is that the new name, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? And all those in favor? Motion carries. Motion carries. The third item on our agenda this evening is also a second reading of an alcoholic application, and this is from the Humarani family. The location is Pine Mountain Chevron, 9089 Georgia Highway 18, Pine Mountain, Georgia. The license applied for was beer and wine off premises. It does meet qualifications. The recommendations from the Sheriff's Office, Health Department, and Community Development were all approval. Ms. Humarani, is there anything that you'd like to mention this evening?
No.
No. Does anyone have any questions for her this evening?
Are y'all planning on opening the store back up? Or y'all? Because I know it's been there for a while and it hadn't been opened in a while. So is that the plan to get this back so you can have it there and then open the store back up?
Yes.
Because that's a really good place right there on Highway 18 and the interstate.
Yeah, we just got grocery today, so yes, yeah.
Okay. Good. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak in favor of or opposition to this application? No one? Okay. Is there a motion?
I move we accept this application of alcohol for the Pine Mountain Chevron out there on Highway 18 and 185.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And all those in favor? Motion carries. The fourth item on our agenda this evening is from Ms. Dorsey, and this is over the Enrichment Services Program, and she will give us an update. Ms. Dorsey, if you would step forward, please. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to come and share some updates with you. I know that last year I wasn't able to come and share an update because of the pandemic, so I think it's probably been a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And since then, there have been some changes. So we just wanted to make sure that the county commissioners were aware of those changes. I think you received some information in your packet. So the first thing in your packet is a copy of our 2019 annual report. And there are just a couple of things that I'll bring to your attention, but I would ask that you read the report when you have a chance. So if you turn to page 6 in the report, this is just an organizational snapshot for our 2018-2019 period. So you'll notice the amount of our funding support during this period. You'll also notice that during this time, our entire organization was able to process 6,286 energy assistance applications for households. You'll also notice that 43 individuals received employment training. We distributed 25,376 food boxes. We served 242 children in early Head Start, and then 836 children in Head Start. So that's for the organization-wide. So I just wanted to highlight that information for you in our annual report. We also have some success stories in the report on page 14 and 15. So again, when you have an opportunity, if you'll take a look at that, then you'll have a chance to read stories from our customers that we've actually served. And then I'll ask you to kind of fast forward a little bit in your packet and go to the overview of our services. So this particular document,
Is that this one?
so it's this
Okay.
one.
That's the one, the page before
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Looks like this.
So on this particular page, you'll notice our vision. So I know I've shared that before, that we are striving to eliminate systemic poverty, so those root causes of poverty. And you'll notice our mission, which is to eliminate poverty through education services and partnerships. You'll also notice the services that we offer. And the last time I was here, I shared that we were only providing employment training and stabilization services in Harris County. But now I am proud to announce that as of September of last year, we are providing the early Head Start and Head Start services here in Ferris County. You'll notice on our service area map that we are trying to communicate as clearly as possible which counties were providing both community services and early childhood, and which ones were only providing community services or early childhood. So sometimes it's difficult when we're going, to our 11 county area, and people will ask questions about the services. But again, we're so excited to be the early Head Start and Head Start provider here. As of September, we were funded to serve 42 children in both early Head Start and Head Start. So if we go to the next page, which lists the services that we are offering here in Harris County, you'll notice on the far left it does have the information about our locations. So we are still located in the same place for the Neighborhood Service Center, so that's in the Carver Center. And then with our Child Development Center, that's also located in the Carver Center as well. So you'll notice the listing of the services, so early Head Start, where we're serving pregnant mothers and children at the age of 6 weeks in the center through the age of 3. And then Head Start, we're able to serve children between the ages of 3 and 5 until it's time for them to go to kindergarten. And then you'll notice the LIHEAP or Energy Assistance Program. So we're offering assistance with households' heating and cooling bills. And that would be a one-time payment during each of those different particular programs. We're still partnering with the food bank to distribute commodities. And then we have the employment training programs. And we're going to ask that you help us get the word out, because we really have not had any participants from Harris County in our CDL training program, our CNA program, or even facility maintenance. Now, one of the challenges may be some of those trainings are in Columbus, but if we are able to get enough residents from Harris County to participate, then we could offer some of the training here in Harris County. And then you'll notice our 2 representatives from Harris County who serve on our board. LaShondra Brundage works at the school system, and then Lisa Slay is our other board representative. The next document in the packet shows the impact during the 2019-2020 year. And so during that particular period, we were able to disperse $168,050, and that was just for energy assistance. So we were able to assist 423 households with their heating bill during that particular time. And then 229 households received commodities on a monthly basis here in Harris County. And then the next document just provides an overall impact for the entire organization. The thing that I will highlight on this particular page is that we track the progress that we're able to make with helping families move toward and to self-sufficiency. So during 2019 and 2020, we were able to help 229 families actually move toward self-sufficiency and 4 families reach self-sufficiency. And the way that we define self-sufficiency is a family's ability to take care of their basic needs without public or private assistance. And then the last document in your packet is just a synopsis from our community assessment that highlights information for Ferris County. So I know I'm not telling you anything that you aren't aware of, but this is information that we collect every 3 years so that we can decide what kind of programs we need to offer in the community. So on that first page, you'll notice under the population, one of the things that really caught our attention was that based on the census data, there is a decline in the percentage of children age 5 and younger. So that is something that we're looking at as we consider early Head Start and Head Start services. On the next page, on page 31 in your packet, it does show the poverty rate, and one of the things that we recognize is that the poverty rate here in Harris County is much lower than throughout the rest of our service area. But there's also information here about employment, housing, and also about rent, and household expenses. So are there any questions that I can answer for you?
Do they do the, I see that you do commercial driver's license training. I'm assuming that's in Columbus, because do you have a place or a person that does that? Or is it somebody on staff that does that? I'm just curious.
We actually partner with the Georgia Driving Academy for that.
So we could have somebody from Harris County that could get with y'all and get their commercial driver's license and then be certified to drive whatever.
Yes.
Well, is there any way that we need to get the word out? Is there a way you could put it into the, and I don't know, I teach at the school, but I wonder if there's a way we could put it into the school system so that, like on our peach jar that we have and we send out to all the parents of the school announcements for other things. I wonder if that would be something, maybe you could talk with Chandra and see if that's something we could do to put it out to all the parents, and then any of the parents that are interested might be able to get in touch with you.
Okay, we can certainly do that. We can provide the flyer or even provide some language for the people.
Right, because I know that we, when we're having registration for recreation stuff and everything in the county, it goes into the peach jar, which sends that out to everybody that's only to all the parents for all the schools from high school to elementary schools. That might be a way to kind of get the word out for the nurses training and the commercial driver's license. You might get a couple of people that way that may not know any other way, but they'll see that through the school system.
Okay, thank you.
Randy, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say that every year I'm always impressed with enrichment services, the work that they do, the work that Ms. Dorsey does in managing that program and being executive director, and I certainly appreciate that and appreciate her succinct and informative presentation every year. It's a great program. It's one of my favorites. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Andrews. We appreciate your support.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for the update.
Thank
Thank
you all
you.
for this opportunity. And please share the word about the services that we're offering.
Absolutely.
The next item on our agenda this evening is an audit presentation, and Mr. Chastain, our financial officer, is in attendance tonight along with Stephen Boydich, who's with Robinson and Grimes. They will both review their findings with us this evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Chairman, members of the board. I've been told that my past presentations on this, the details of this document are as riveting to a non-accountant mind as they are to myself and the auditors here. So I'm going to try to keep it on a little more of a common man approach this year. Just kind of hit some highlights and high points here, not keep bogged down into the exact details of the audit. But overall, the audit was a very, very positive document this year. We had lots of federal expenditures this year, lots of capital items that we had that created some extra time, some extra work. We had $800,000 of rails and trails expenditures that we completed this year. $200,000 at the airport on wildlife fencing. We had almost $500,000 in new water meters that were purchased and partially installed for Waterworks. And we had $1.1 million of CARES and COVID money that we received this year in relation to the pandemic. Some really good news that we had this year. Our unrestricted fund balance for the general fund is about 66% of the total 2021 budgeted expenditures, which means we have about 8 months of working capital to work with. Just to give you, put that in perspective, about just a couple of years ago, we had almost 2 months to 3 months of working capital, which the 8 months is definitely the healthier option where we need to be moving forward. We in setting up that number over the past several years, we knew we had some substantial increases, things coming up for our fiscal year 22 budget. The implementation of the compensation study, potential double-digit increases in the health insurance that could take place after a pandemic. So we prepared ourselves well for those challenges that we have ahead by working on that unrestricted fund balance that we have for the general fund now. And looking at Waterworks and solid waste this year, they continue to both have healthy operating incomes. Waterworks has spent through some of their unrestricted cash, but it's been for needed equipment and some projects such as State Route 219 water line relocation. We've worked with Mr. Culpepper at Waterworks. We've made a small increase in rates at Waterworks, and so we've addressed that issue, and I think they're set moving forward. Also, another item that's important in here is that when I first arrived in 2017, we had funds for each SPLOST from 1999, 2004, 2009, 2014. 1999 SPLOST was almost 20 years old at that time. We still had outstanding funds from that. At the end of fiscal year 20, and really fiscal year 21 coming up on this year, we'll have exhausted all of those, including SPLOST 2014, and the only available funds we'll have moving forward in 2019. So we'll have spent all of those, with the exception of 2019, and be on track for where we should be. Meaning we've Mr. Dowling has created a capital plan. We've followed it, implemented it, and those funds are being spent in a timely fashion as they should be. And when we're looking at SPLOST and loss, we have had, even really starting in fiscal year 20 in the audit, and since then we've shown record high numbers going forward. And we really hadn't been able to pinpoint it, and I think Mr. Dowling was able to figure it out that when everyone was at home during the pandemic, online shopping and having things delivered to their house, when we get SPLOST, we get lost, we get the revenues from those, and they're not going to Columbus, they're not going to Troup County or LaGrange, other places. So is that shopping run, is that something here to stay? Or does it go back to a normal? Or is this the new normal? But what we have seen from that is our numbers aren't down. Our numbers are actually up substantially when we're looking at those. My final piece is we have, in 2015, the county had 5 financial statement findings. And last year and this year, we're down to 1, and Mr. Warnich will I'll go over that, but it's one of those that we're gonna work and do our best to get rid of, but it's one of the hard ones to get rid of. It's a segregation of duties issue, but I'll let Mr. Boynich go over those details, and then we'll take any questions that you guys might have related to our work this year.
Well, I would echo what Clint said, is that I think this financial statement shows continued improvement over the last several years, just in the financial department and just overall for the county. So good news there. And it was a heavy lift too, because there's a new financial accounting software platform countywide, new chart of accounts, and so all of that is just continued improvement over what, well, I say it's continued improvement that has been in process over several years now. So all good news there. We have clean opinions on the financial statements. There's two opinions actually. One is on the financial statements, and that is that they represent the county correctly. We didn't come up with any issues. And the other one is on the expenditures of those federal awards that Clint was talking about, which some significant awards and significant expenditures this year related to the COVID relief fund, airport, Trust, all of that, and no findings there. The one thing that we are reporting is something that's common among many counties, and that is basically that you have limited accounting personnel in the finance and other county offices. Now, I mean, that's a known thing. It's not an indication of any irregularities or error or anything like that. It's just that you have employees that are performing multiple responsibilities, and that requires oversight. So that's just a statement of fact and not an indication of any errors or irregularities or anything like that. So good news there. Let's see, what else? I also have for you, and I believe you have a copy of our letter to governance, and this is just a summary of our communications with you that discuss our responsibilities as well as any estimates in the financial statements, such as the net pension liability, post-closure related to solid waste, or depreciation of capital assets. But nothing unusual to report there. Everything looked good. So really, it was a good financial statement. I think it represents the county well. And so thank you to the commissioners for your oversight, and Randy and Clint for all of your work on this, putting this together, and gathering all the substantive documentation. I know it was a lot. I actually am very happy to see it too, because we finally moved our family up here to the county last month. So very happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Does anyone have any questions for?
I have one question, and it is a good financial report, by the way. This is not a dollar and cents question. I don't know if it should be addressed to Randy or if it should be addressed to whomever. But as I was going through the report, something caught my eye, and I may be the only person in the room that doesn't understand what this actually means. It's on page 30, under related organizations, and it reads, the following are related organizations for which the county appoints one or more of the board of directors, but they do not meet any other of the reporting entity criteria. And there are three organizations listed: Harris County Board of Education, Harris County Board of Family and Children's Services, and the Cattlemen's Association. What does that mean? As far as I know, we don't appoint anyone to any board of directors of any of these three. So can somebody explain that to me?
Well, they're not included in the financial statements. I think it's just recognizing that there is a relationship.
Well, if I'm understanding what I'm reading, it says the following are related organizations for which the county appoints one or more of the board of directors, but they do not meet any of the reporting entity criteria. That part I understand, the last part, the reporting part. It's the portion, and maybe this is something that Randy should answer. as far as I know, the county does not appoint anyone to any of these three boards. Am I correct?
I think we report defects,
We have one person on the Harris County defects.
Okay, so we could say there are two.
but not the Board of Education or the county.
With Callan's, no.
That, in my opinion, that should be removed from the zone.
Or is it talking about the Board of Education because we appoint somebody from the Board of Education to the Recreation Board? Or is it
It
talking about,
says-
I know
it
the way it
says-
reads, it's like we're appointing to their
It's
board.
very, to me, it's very, the language is very plain. The following are related organizations for which the county appoints one or more of the board of directors, but they do not meet any other of the reporting entity criteria. And I know we don't appoint anybody to the Cattlemen's Association.
No.
In other words, to me, and it may be picky to guys who do the $1 million and that sort of thing, but that is an error that should be corrected.
That's something I'll look into.
Okay, and would you please advise me on that?
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
do? Thank you.
That's something that I believe has been in here and carried forward.
That's
I think
probably
we back
true.
into it, we'll probably see.
That's probably true, but if it is incorrect, I'm asking that it be removed. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Does anyone else have any questions? None?
Randy,
Yes, Susan?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say this is an excellent financial audit, and I'm really pleased with the financial health of the county right now, and I appreciate Clint, Christie, and Randy and their work, and I think it's just speaks to the hard work that we've done over the last few years. I'm really pleased with it.
Definitely, I think we could all agree with that.
I think the only weakness we have is we don't have enough people working. I mean, that's pretty good. At least it's not a monetary weakness, you know. I mean, that's good.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Is there a motion?
I make the motion that we accept it once this change is made, if it's found to be correct, which I think it will be,
Yeah. And I will second that motion.
you know.
With those corrections.
Yeah, with those corrections.
Who was-
If there are corrections.
Who was the second? Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
The next item on our agenda this evening is a GDOT agreement for an inmate work detail. This is an annual agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation for an inmate work detail consisting of a maximum of 10 inmates and 1 correctional officer, for which GDOT provides the vehicle, supplies all the equipment, tools, and materials, and pays the county $39,500 for the correctional officer. This detail assists in the maintenance of GDOT equipment, buildings, and right-of-ways, and works in counties other than Harris County. This is the usual annual agreement, which covers the period from July 1 of 2021 through July 30th of 2022. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I had a question.
Yeah.
If I can. The 39,500 that is paid, is that something that's customary and usual? Is that it?
That's been the standard
Yes.
amount.
Yeah.
Standard amount, been there for years, and it basically covers the cost, generally covers the cost of the correctional officer.
Right, so does that ever take into consideration, like, sort of like we did with the county employees, does that ever take into consideration like inflation?
GDOT will not increase it.
Gotcha.
That's
The last-
fee.
The last time we asked, it was like, take it or leave it.
Gotcha.
So,
But there are other agreements with other counties and cities
Right.
that do have an escalation clause.
right.
To capture that increased cost of that correctional officer year after year. But GDOT, not so much.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And all those in favor? Motion carries. The last item on our agenda this evening are our project updates, and Mr. Galvin, I'll let you handle that.
Mr. to the Board of Commissioners, the program of work, number 9, replacement ambulances. This should be delivered during May and June. 1 in May, 1 in June. And they are sorely needed. Number 14, replacement consoles for 911. This should be delivered and installed later this month. Number 16 has been completed, as well as number 19. Number 16, purchase of a hay baler for Public Works, and number 19, purchase a replacement utility trailer, also for Public Works. The element road resurfacing projects are going on right now, so they'll be completed well before June 30. And the restriping of the county roads hasn't commenced yet, but that should be very, very soon. And the 5 bridges to be repaired, they are being repaired and they should be completed also well before June 30. Number 24, Millie Lakes Dam. That is almost completed. EPD visited the site on April the 13th and presented a good report. So again, that should be completed well before June 30. Number 25 and 26, Alexander Park. Alexander Paving is finishing up his work, and it should be finished during April, and a final consensus meeting has been set for the first week in May. So that is also concluded. Number 30, the phase 4, the next section of the Wellshire Trails project, also known as the Man of War Railroad Recreation Trail. It is on bid. The bid deadline is May the 7th, with board consideration on May 18th. Continue that project from where it ends behind the Mountain Creek Inn to the Callaway Country Store, about 1.5 miles, including the rehabilitation of the railroad bridge over US 27.
Where are we gonna have the other, I guess, billboards? We're gonna put one behind the country store? 'Cause I know there's one down at the, corner store. We're gonna put one at the country store at the end?
Yes, and that's a trailhead. It has a map of the trail, and on the back of it is interpretive signage. So that will be our 3rd one. So every time you get to a trailhead, there's information about the trail, the length, the distances, where you're at on the trail, and points of interest. And on the rear of the kiosk or the trailhead is interpretive signage of what happened historically in that general area.
Well, have we gotten with Callaway about being able to put the switch back so we can get down to that trailhead?
Yes, we've been in talks with them for a while, and we had to move the switchbacks over several times because they're planning a huge ground storage water tank there, so we had to relocate that, and they're willing to sign easements, temporary and permanent construction easements for us to get that switchback out there. So they have been a really good partner and a supporter of this project. So that should be, and then once it's awarded on May the 18th, then it should be finished by December of this year. Again, from where it ends to the Callaway Country Store.
What would the total length on that be?
It's about 3.5 now.
Yeah.
It'll be 5 miles from downtown Pine Mountain to the country store.
Okay.
About 5 miles.
So how many more miles would we need to go to get to Hamilton? About 4?
About 4 miles, or what I say, $4 million.
Go start working on some grants.
Number 41, new customer service building for Waterworks. The floor plans and the facade is being worked on. We've had various meetings. The most recent one was April 13th. So that project is being designed right now, and we should get a new elevation probably the next week or two to show the board what the front elevation may look like, because the original one wasn't really popular. So we're going to get a new elevation that will be more appropriate for Harris County. Number 46, old library renovations. That project is on bid, and the bid deadline is May the 18th. And the donation from the Center for Rural Prosperity and Innovation of $39,000 has been received. And that's for architectural fees. Number 47, updating the county's land use codes. That project, I think all 13 or 14 chapters have been completed. So all chapters have been completed in a draft form. The steering committee met yesterday for 2 hours, going over the final points. So the steering committee can be more acclimated toward it. And there's another steering committee meeting on April 22nd to go over some more fine points. Then after that meeting on the 22nd, hopefully the steering committee can recommend it going forward to be posted on the internet for public review for 2 or 3 weeks, and then an open house, a public open house to answer questions, do some Q&A. And then after that, joint meetings with the Board of Commissioners and the Planning Commission to go over all of the documents. It will be a series of several meetings. So the Planning Commission, the Board of Commissioners can meet, talk about what the steering committee has approved and public comment has been received. And this will be a final draft. And if we need to have 1 meeting, fine. 2 meetings, okay. 3 meetings, sure. If we need to have 5 or 6 meetings, so be it. So the Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners can be comfortable. And then once they're comfortable with this document, then it'll go to first reading at the Planning Commission, and then the second and final reading at the Board of Commissioners level. It's all targeted for July. So that's what we're targeting, all July, to have that project wrapped up.
Are we still on our, the original cost of this?
Yes,
Is it still?
that has not changed. Because the project hasn't changed.
Right.
It just got delayed by COVID and maternity leave and other factors. Number 52, courthouse assessment. An assessment was done on 2WR and their team of engineers and architects on March the 2nd, no, on April the 7th. So we were waiting for the assessment report. We should have that report in time, if not final, preliminary, on April 27th. So basically that, and you can see the SPLOS and LOS collections. Again, SPLOS, LOS, and T-SPLOS were slightly down from last month, but increased from this time last year. And single-family home building permits, so far, this fiscal year with 3 months remaining, we're at 178 single-family building permits issued. In April, May, and June should be even more with the commencement of the Grove development. And solid waste tonnage keeps going up. Solid waste tonnage was more than last month and more than last year. So solid waste tonnage keeps going up. But that's to be expected. Everybody's buying things online and getting them delivered to their house. And we have a lot of cardboard boxes. So that concludes the program work. We're happy to answer any questions the board may have.
The building permits, that doesn't count Harris Street.
It does not.
That's inside West Point.
Correct. So you can add, to that 178, you can add 40 today, right now. And then maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 months from now, maybe add another 20.
Signs went up today at Mulberry Grove that they are selling lots. So today's the first day that the advertisement went up for that. So they're getting ready
To pull the trigger on the 54 first new homes, and then the apartments will be probably this fall when they start construction.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 pods now. There's
Phase
not-
1 and phase 2?
There's 2 pods now and there's single family.
Okay.
There's more than 54. 54 is in the first pod, I believe, and I believe it's about a total of about 115.
Is that the Stone Martin, or is that just the first one?
That's on their residential, single family residential.
So you should be seeing more single-family building permits issued, along with a lot more permit revenue.
Any other questions? That kind of wraps up our agenda this evening. Is there any need for executive session this evening? None? Is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment.
I'll second that. All those in favor?